Good morning. Today we will talk about your parents. Yes, you heard me right, parents. We all have two parents, mother and father, and it does not matter if one of your parents has passed away or maybe both, you still have a relationship. If you live far away, if you don't see them, if you don't communicate with them, there is still a connection which can never disappear because it is part of you. And the concept of how can we have a relationship with somebody who is already dead is a little bit hard to understand, but let me explain that even though the person physically does not exist, they still exist in your soul and in your mind because of the memories, of the experiences, of certain feelings of guilt, of love, of something unfinished, and so on. There's plenty of connections even though the person might no longer exist. And relationships with our parents affect our lives. Sometimes you find something wrong with your life. You are not complete. You have the void. You lack something. There is some sort of anger. And where does it come from? You look at the obvious sources. Must come from work. All that stress that I get, and I get really angry, right? But it can come from a different source, and often that source is the relationship with your parents. Unresolved conflicts. Why? Because parents are like God to us. When we are born, we look up to our father literally and mentally, and we looked up to our mother. Now, I think I'm talking to mostly men here, so let's concentrate on the father-son relationship first. How is your relationship with your father? It's alright. Maybe. Now, I want you to look deeper into it. How do you feel towards him? Is there any unresolved issues? Is there any perhaps anger or hate? Or did he make you feel inferior? Did he try to project his own fantasies upon you, expecting too much? Maybe you're not living up to his expectations. There's all these endless issues that you have to be aware of, because even though maybe he passed away, maybe he's still alive, but you still have a strong connection to your father from when you were a little baby. And often our fathers, if we are a son, often they see mini me in their son. They see that, and if you're a father, you can maybe relate to that this little boy is just like me. And that's why men would often call their sons the same name, but Junior. And you know people around you like that. They have a son, the man is called John, the son is called John Jr., right? Women don't do that. Women would never give the girl the same name, right? Right. So why does this happen? Because the father sees the little boy as the new version of him. And what does that mean? That the father will often want the son to live out his dream. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, because the son is not him. It's not a mini-me. It's not somebody to project your fantasies or your dreams onto. Right? Right. So if you're a father, be careful not to push your son in the direction that you have always wanted to go but never went. If you always wanted to become a doctor, and now it's your time, because there's the mini-me. This is my second life, sort of second chance. It's not. It's another life, another human being. And now, if you're in the position of the son, and your father is expecting too much, pushing you in the wrong direction, telling you that you are not good enough, worrying about you, and so on, defining your self-esteem, making you angry with certain issues, putting you down as a common one. Think about where all these emotions might be coming from. Now, there is plenty of adult men in their 40s, 30s, and even 60s who still have an unresolved issue with their father, which results in anger. Father is the authority figure, and father pretty much defines your self-esteem very often, because we rely on our parents and our fathers especially opinion of us to establish our self-esteem, to establish how good you are. Just like the teacher at school would say, this is a smart boy, this is a naughty boy, this is a stubborn boy, this is a not so smart boy, and you suck in that opinion of the authority and apply it to yourself and think, well, the teacher said that I'm a smart boy, so I must be a smart boy. But now, who is more important than the teacher? This is your father. What did your father say about you when you were young? In front of you, one-on-one, or in front of other people. How was your father's opinion about you? What did your father want you to be? Did you answer his expectations and so on? Do you have any grudges against your father? Is there an unresolved conflict? Go through that, go through the past, and make sure that you're clear on what was happening, what is happening now. Often when we get to a certain age and the father is in his 70s and people still think, well, he's still that man, that big authority figure, and we can't realize that now the tables have rotated and you are in the position of the authority. You are strong, you are in your rise, you are in your peak maybe, and the father is in the decline. They're actually weak. Surely they still have health and strong personality, but they're no longer in a position to define how good you are. Yes, they try to tell you that you're not with the right woman, you're not at the right job, but they are often projecting what they want to be onto their sons. Can anybody relate to this? No? If not, if yes, yes. Okay, now how do you resolve the issue with your father? It's a very simple exercise. Again, we have been through this before. The exercise when you remove you out and see yourself as, say, a 40-year-old man or a 35-year-old man from the outside perspective, and observe and see what would be the natural reaction to certain things that the father says. Why do they make you angry? Why are you not forgiving him? Why does it provoke resistance, certain things that he says? And often when you see yourself from the outside, you think, this is ridiculous, this is so childish and immature, my reaction to him. And often, now we're going to get to the mother part, often the same happens with the mother. Now, I want to give you an extreme example. A friend of mine, somebody I know in New Zealand, is now 67, and his mother is almost 90, and she went blind because of all the stress, and her husband died a long time ago, and she's a lovely lady. She looks adorable. She's got grey hair, and she's so weak and loving and very kind. It's a pleasure to talk to her. Pity she's all by herself in old people's house. And then I was sitting once with my friend, and he had a bit of a cold, and then he got a phone call. He picked up the phone and said, "Mom, yeah." And he started screaming at her, using the word fuck, and then he hung up. It's like, fuck off, don't even call me. And the mother, I remember her, this little, trembling woman who's going to die very soon, and there's nothing aggressive or annoying about her at all. Yet in his mind, she is still the controlling mother who worries too much and so on. She called him to remind him to take his cold medicine. She was caring, she's loving. He shouted at her, screamed at her through the phone, told her to fuck off, and hung up on her. And then he's not going to answer her phone calls for another week. Now, what is happening here? It's not a teenage boy we're talking about, a 67-year-old man. And it's not the dominant sort of controlling mother either. But why this relationship? Because if you do not resolve the issues on time, they carry on. And to the outside eye, it looked ridiculous. Yet he was trying to justify his behavior just like a 10-year-old would. Ah, she was trying to tell me what to do. Oh, she can't stop worrying about me. I can do everything myself. I'm an adult. Okay. This was very sad. Brought a tear to my eye because, hey, this old woman, she doesn't have much left to live, and all she's got is her one son, and he's the only child, and she truly worries about him. He has to take his medicine. She waited until that time when he has to take the medicine, right about after lunchtime, to remind him, to call him and remind him, please take your medicine. She was doing the right thing as she imagines it to be, right? Taking care of her little baby. Now, we can't change her personality. We can't tell her that that little baby is not that little anymore. But we can change his behavior because he is now at the top. She's no longer the strong, controlling mother. She's a weak old lady who's blind, who can't do anything by herself, right? And how do we change his behavior? This is an extreme example, but a lot of us show that behavior when our mothers and fathers try to tell us what to do, judge us on certain things, and try to worry about us like way too much. We reject them, we scream at them, we are rude to them, we don't appreciate their help, their worries, instead of being, oh mother, thank you so much for worrying about me. Yes, I will take my medicine right now. I just needed your reminder, and not in a sarcastic way. Just needed your reminder to take the medicine. Thank you. I'm glad you remembered. It's so nice to have such a caring, loving mother at this age. I really appreciate you. This is what should have been said instead of fuck off, never call me again. Right? So let's behave. Let's behave, full stop. Let's behave and let's resolve issues with our parents if we still have issues. Now, how do you resolve issues with parents? Observing yourself from outside. Yes, that's a good one. You don't see yourself as me, this Lena, who was, I don't know, arguing with her father all the time. This is not true, by the way, but you see yourself as this girl who is, for some reason, screaming at her father. Now, what is the point? Respect for the elder is something that Koreans do really well. We still use different language to our fathers, like a higher level language. We call them with respect. We use different words for even simple things like sleep or eat. There's one word for eating with your friends and eating by yourself, and there's another word for parents, eating. There's another level. There's the whole kind of bringing up. Why? Because, parents have put up with a lot to bring us up, from the pregnancy, from the vomiting in the morning, and until the little baby screaming all the time and doesn't let people sleep, and the education and sending them to school, picking them up, not having a private life, not being able to do anything because you got kids and you got to look after them all the time. You can't just, okay, I'm going to forget about my kid for a week. Can't do that. So you've practically ruined your parents' life, more or less, if you want to look at it this way. So how much shall we love our parents? How much shall we serve them? How much shall we take care of them? The answer is right there. Imagine all those years when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all those years they took care of us. Every single meal. Right? Somebody took care of it. Mom, Dad. Dad went out to make money. Mom cooked for you. How much are you doing for your parents now? Yep. You went for a walk with your dad and you bought your mom a new TV. If you're a good son. Is this enough? Is this enough time, enough love, enough care? How often do you call your parents? And why does it have to be a burden? And many of you know that I call my wonderful grandma every Sunday, and we talk for about an hour and a half, and I love talking to her. Why? Because she has all the wisdom in the world, and she's a wonderful person, just like your mother, just like your parents, She shares this wisdom. Her unconditional love for her granddaughter is really evident in the way she talks. She always has time to speak to you, to me, right? Your mother will always have time to speak to you. The pie in the oven might burn, but she will have time to speak to you. Something can wait. Yet, when the mother calls us, I'm in the middle of something, can I call you back? And you forget. This is very common. What am I teaching here? Unconditional love and giving and being appreciative of what has happened 40 years ago, 30 years ago, or 20 years ago. 154, you have a beautiful mother doctor, and she's been helping with advising with the cancer patient that I'm trying to help. Wonderful, loving, kind mother, helping people. How much shall you want to serve her? How much do you want to help her around the house, around whatever she needs? What a wonderful lady to be serving. You don't have to be serving a dome in leather boots. You can be serving the main lady of your life, the lady who gave you life. Okay, parents. Yeah, what more can I say about parents? I only have one parent, as you know. But like I said in the beginning of this video, it doesn't matter if one of your parents died. You still have a relationship with them, and you can resolve problems in that relationship without the other person being present. Forgiveness is something that is inside you and you can do on your own. You don't have to go face the person and say you're sorry, although that is very good. But you can say that you're sorry inside yourself. You can cry, and this is a release. Crying is a release. If you're a man, cry by yourself. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Think, I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry for not looking after you well enough. I'm sorry for not calling you well enough, and act differently from that moment on. Crying is a release of love that comes from the emotions of love, creativity, creation, right? Because you're giving, you're opening up, instead of going like, ooh, my father is a bad man, blah, 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 blah. Let's shut down and brew it all anger inside, and look, it's gonna come out at work, it's gonna come out in the family. Unresolved issues with mother can come out in front of your wife. This is exactly what my mother used to do. Don't be like that. Have you ever seen this? I've seen this with other people, but it's not pretty. It's not pretty. And she's like, what did I do? This misunderstanding creates tension. Resolve the issues with your parents. Tell them you love them, but not in say, hey, mom just called you to say I love you. And the mom is going to faint, probably, because that has not happened since you were 4. Maybe sometimes it's good to hold your parents, to hug your parents. Yes, it's not manly, it's not like a man, it can be embarrassing, but once you get over that barrier, you realize, wow, I was sucking this woman's breast when I was little, so why should I not be able to hold her hand or hug her? There's a connection between us. I came out of her, you know. Why do I have to be shy to show my emotions to this woman? Oh, she knows I love her. Does she really know? Of course she knows, because you're her son, but people love it when we show them our emotions. When we're little, we like it when our mom hugs us and kisses us, and she's not afraid to show her emotions. When the mom becomes old, and you're at the top, you're the man, and you're up, and she's in her down. She wants this love as much as you wanted love when you were a little boy or girl. She wants this love from you. And it's okay to show it. It's okay to take her out for a walk. And often our parents, oh, no, it's okay. Oh, I can do it myself. Oh, no, just sit down. You don't need to help me wash the dishes. Oh, I can do everything myself. This is just an act of love from her side to not bother you too much, because if she makes it a burden for you to come to her house and you have to wash the dishes and help with this and this, maybe you will not come again, and all old people are afraid of loneliness, afraid of being abandoned by their kids, afraid of kids not having enough time for them. And I don't understand how some people can say, I don't have enough time to call my parents or see my parents. No, I'm going to go see them on Christmas next year. Because this year we're going on a trip with the girlfriend and so on. Talking too much. Okay, so you understand what I'm trying to say about parents. Well, start to practice. And if you don't have parents now, what I do, I make parents everywhere. Like the parents of the house, the father and the mother of the house, the owners of the house. Green juice for them. And whatever I can do for them, like take them to the hospital and so on, I do. Because yes, they are the age of my parents, pretty much. And I like to take care of them. I enjoy it because when I was little, adults took care of me. Now it's time to take care of the adults who are in the decline. And one example of unconditional love, which is not related to parents, you can apply it in any area of your life. Have you ever been to a park where there are ducks? Sure you have. Ducks, swans, geese or whatever. And you got that bread out of your pocket or part of your sandwich and you threw it to the ducks to eat. And you didn't think like, oh, ducks will come and sit on my shoulder or sing me a song or go and kiss my hands for the piece of bread that I've given them. You know that the ducks are not going to do anything for you. Yet, some of us have even brought bread from home. Some of us gave more than half of our sandwich to the ducks. Why? Are the ducks starving in that pond? Probably not, because there are a lot of people who like to feed ducks. Where does this emotion of wanting to give come from? From pure love. Ducks are cute. You know, when they walk and move their ass like this, and they look cute, they look adorable, right? This is love for a being that is alive and that is going to eat that bread with pleasure and this unfakeable greed, not really greed, desire and appreciation. You know, you throw the bread to the duck, you know it's gonna eat it. Unless there are like ducks in London Park, then probably they're so full that they won't even react to bread. Although, anyway, remember this desire of giving to the animals, giving something to eat to the animals and feeling satisfaction for some reason that you fed an animal that doesn't have hands to go to the supermarket, doesn't have the money to go and buy itself a loaf of bread, so it has to seek out worms in the ground or wherever. And this is such a pleasure to throw bread for the ducks, isn't it? And if you forget how to love and how to give, take some bread or leftovers of your food and go to the park and feed the ducks. Might even be pigeons. And enjoy the act of giving and realize that, this is the feeling when I give and I don't expect back. And this is how you should give to people as well. Okay? Gonna leave you on this note. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.